Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Uh, in today's tutorial, I will be sharing with you on how to solve quadratic equations by quadratic formula. And just before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to this channel and like content and also share the link with your friends. Thank you very much for doing that. Now, let's begin. So over here we have three questions, and the first one we have 5x squared plus 13x negative 6 equal 0. The second question is 2x squared plus 15x plus 7 equals 0. And the final question is 4x squared plus 8x negative 3 equal 0. So now let's take the first question. Yeah, so the first thing we're going to be looking at now is the coefficient of x squared and also the coefficient of x. We are going to assign them to different variable. The coefficient of x squared, we want to take that to be a, which is 5. A is equals to 5. B is equal 13. And C is equal negative 6. After you have done this, next is to invoke the quadratic formula, which is x is equal negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Now that we have written the quadratic formula, next is to plug in all of these values, the value of a, b, and c, into this equation. So into this formula rather. So now this will be equals to, our b is 13, so this becomes negative 13 plus or minus the square root of 13 squared minus parenthesis 4 times a. A is 5 times c. C is negative 6. So let's just put that in a smaller parenthesis. Good. And then over 2 times a. A is 5. Good. So now we have negative 13 plus or minus the square root of 13. The square root of 13 is 169 minus parenthesis 4 times 5, that's going to give us 20, and 20 times negative 6, that's going to give us negative 120. So over 2 times 5 is 10, so over 10. So now we have 169 minus parenthesis negative 120. So negative times negative is going to give us positive. So now this becomes negative 13 plus or minus the square root of 169 plus 120 divided by 10. So now we have to sum up the content of the square root. So 169 plus 120. So when we do that, that's going to give us, we have negative 13 plus or minus. So let's sum up 169 plus 120. When we do that, we don't have 289 by your square root symbol over 10. So next is to take the square root of 289. So the square root of 289 would be 17 over 10. Now, take note of this positive and negative sign, plus or minus. So now it's time to split them into the individual signs. So let's take the first one. So the first one becomes negative 13 plus 17 divided by 10. And the next one is negative 13, negative 17 divided by 10. So negative 13 plus 17, that's going to give us a positive 4. So now this will become equal 4 over 10. And then negative 13, negative 17 is negative 30. So we have negative 30 divided by 10. So now if we simplify the both of them, this will become 2 over 5. And negative 30 divided by 10, that gives you negative 3. So the final answer is equal, x is equal 2 over 5 or negative 3. Final answer. I hope it makes sense to you. All right, so let's quickly look at the second question. In this second question, we have 2x squared plus 15x plus 7 equal 0. So now, let's assign them the coefficient of x squared to a, which is a is equals to 2, b is equal 15, and c equal 7. And after that, we invoke the quadratic formula, which is x equal negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Yeah, so now we can assign the values. We can plug in the values into this formula. And b is 15, so that becomes negative 15 plus or minus the square root of 15 squared minus parenthesis 4 times a is 2 times c is 7 close parenthesis and divided by 2 times our a is 2 times 2. Good. So this will become negative 15 plus or minus the square root of 15 is 200. The square of 15 is 225 minus 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 7 is 56 divided by 4. 2 times 2, 4. Good. So now this will be equal negative 15 plus or minus the square root of 255 minus 56. Just clear the parentheses and then you divide by 4. Good. So now if we subtract 56 from 225, that's going to give us 169. So this becomes negative 15 plus or minus the square root of 169 over 4. So now we have to take the square root of 169. So negative 15 plus or minus the square root of 169 is 13. Okay, divided by 4. So at this point, we have to split them into the individual signs because we have plus and plus minus sign over here. So this become negative 15, negative 13 over 4, and negative 15 plus 13 over 4. So negative 15, negative 13, that's going to give us negative 28 divided by 4. Why negative 13 plus negative 15 plus 13? Negative 15 plus 13 is going to give us negative 2 over 4. So if we simplify both of them, negative 28 divided by 4 is going to give us negative 7. And negative 2 divided by 4, that's going to give us negative 1/2. Therefore, x is equal negative 7 or negative 1/2. 1/2, sorry. Negative 1/2. The final answer to this question. I hope it makes some sense. Finally, we have question 3, which is 4x squared plus 8x minus 3 equals 0. So A will be equals to 4, and B is equal 8, and C is equal negative 3. So next is to write the quadratic formula, which is x equal negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So next is to plug in the values, which is equal b is 8, which becomes a negative b plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times a is 4 times 4 times negative 3, and then all this over yes, we need to plug in the value of b. So this should be 8, this should be 8. Good. So over 2 times 4. Good. So now equals to negative 8 plus or minus square root of 8 squared is 64, so we have 64 minus parenthesis 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times negative 3, and that's going to give us 8 negative 48. Yeah, negative 48. Okay, over 2 times 4 is 8. So this will be equals to negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 64. So negative times negative is positive, so this becomes plus 48 over 8. So if you add up 64 and 48, this will be equals to negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 64 plus 48 will give us we have 2 112. 112. 4 plus 8 is 12. You write down 2, you carry 1. Yeah, no, 112, not 100 and 112. Good. Over 8. So now if we take the square root of 112, this will be approximately 10.58 over 8. So now we can separate the signs because we have plus and minus. So let's separate them into -8 plus 10.58 over 8, and also -8 negative 10.58 over 8. So this will be equals to, if you add up -8 plus 10.58, this is going to give you 2.58 over 8, and -8 negative 10.58 is going to give us negative 18.58 over 8. So this will be equals to 0.323, and this will be negative 2.323 approximately. So x therefore is equal 0.323 or negative 2.323, and this is now the final answer to this question. So if you find this video useful, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the content, share the link with your friends, and I will be glad you do that for me. Thank you very much, and see you in our next video. Bye bye.